Welcome to the Fly Fishing Insider Podcast, where each week we speak with brands, icons, innovators, and trailblazers within the fly fishing industry, exploring both the successes and failures they've encountered along the way to become who they are today. But first, if you have not yet subscribed to the podcast or joined our email list, please do so by going to the flyfisherinsiderpodcast.com, or you can also find us on Instagram at Fly Fisher Insider Podcast. Now let's begin. Welcome to the Fly Fishing Insider Podcast. Today our guest is Captain James Johnson. James is a longtime fly guide and self-confessed permit bum. James operates 3 guiding lodges located in Alaska and Belize. Here today to tell us more is Captain James Johnson. James, welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
Awesome. I'm excited. I know it's towards the tail end of your season here, so we finally locked you down and we get to talk and whatnot. So let's jump right into it. James, who is Captain James Johnson? Tell us all about you, how you got started in fly fishing, and when you got that bug.
Well, I kind of grew up in the industry. When I was born, my parents had owned and operated a Orbis-endorsed fly fishing lodge and guide service on the Pere Marquette River in Michigan. It's West Michigan River. Runs wild runs of Lake Michigan, steelhead, salmon, first river in North America to be planted with German brown trout. So, I grew up in the fly shop and around guides and hunting and fishing. I lived on the flies only section of the Pere Marquette, walked around and fished on my own when I was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way through. So, I was definitely tied into it from the beginning. And then sold that back in 2000, and then we ended up coming up north here in 2005. So been doing that ever since.
When you say we and you say coming up north, where were you coming from, and who is we exactly?
My family, my parents. So we've purchased Naknek River Camp in Bristol Bay, Alaska. Pretty famous area, Naknek River, and so I started coming up here from Michigan with the family when I was 12, and then 4 years ago purchased a second lodge on the same river, Cat My Trophy Lodge, and I guide and run that operation now.
That's pretty cool.
My parents still do the original lodge, so yeah, it's pretty neat. It's a beautiful area, and it's kind of what I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid, so it's working out pretty well so far. I hope to keep it running for a while.
I like it. It's like you're living my life here, my dream life, if you will. So basically, what I want to get to, and I want the audience to understand here, is how you got into guiding. When you said you grew up at the early ages, 4 and stuff like that on the river. How did you go to guiding school? Where did you go to guiding school? How did you get involved with it? How did you know what species you wanted to target, or what type of water? Because you're a multi-species and multi-water. You do, the Belize operation and the Alaska operation, so completely different water. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so, my life was kind of guide school, I guess. I grew up fishing with fly fishing guides and stuff. I would go out, when I was 12, I'd go out on the water with my dad when he was guiding and help him out, literally every day for the entire summer. And, when I was 15, I started doing solo trips and, all of the fly-out destinations pretty much that we do today out here, I went and fished. I guided before I'd ever seen them at, 15, 16, 17 years old, went and explored them and fished them and decided if we wanted to add it to the program or not. And then, so I've just permanently been in that. As far as the saltwater thing goes, I've always, we did my whole childhood and whatnot. We'd do the Florida Keys every year. We had a motor home and a flats boat, and we'd go, park down in the Florida Keys for a couple weeks to a month in the, winter, Christmas sort of season, or sometimes tarpon season, hang out, fish around. So I've loved doing that since, long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Some of my earliest memories are being out on a, flats boat during the worm hatch and watching, 120-pound tarpon crushing worms and jumping in, and then we started doing, we did some hosted stuff and some travel to the Bahamas when I was a teen, and that's where I really did my first real, like bone fishing and saltwater flat stuff. And then, I've been in Belize all winter for the past 8 years, from anywhere from 6 weeks to 5 months, and that's really my biggest passion, I would say, right now is that saltwater flats game, the sight fishing for fish in shallow water, bonefish, permit tarpon.
So you
that's
prefer
really
that?
Kind of my favorite.
So James, you prefer that over like the freshwater or the rivers or whatnot going up in Alaska?
I mean, they're both great in their own right, and they're totally different fisheries. But
Absolutely.
I love the demand. I love the skill and precision of the flats fishing, the hunt of it. The seeing a fish with a 80 feet out there at 11 o'clock with a 15-mile-an-hour crosswind and have to put the shot right on his nose.
So let's actually talk a bit about that. Like as a fly angler myself, I mean, that's a hard shot to do, and it's very technical. So when you're guiding your guests, and they're down there and they're on vacation, like, and they've booked you, and you're trying to tell them how to do it. Walk me through like some of the difficulties you might have encountered, or how you are able to put the clients on those 100-pound tarpon, if you do.
Yeah, again, I don't really do any guiding down there, but I've done some guide training, and I'll take clients out some, but with other guides and whatnot. But it's very difficult. It's very demanding, and honestly, most people can't make a lot of those shots. You can't. A shot like that, for the most part, with the vast majority of anglers, you just kind of watch that fish swim by and never put a cast in front of it. You have to work really hard as a guide to be able to see the fish far enough out and be able to work on boat positioning to put yourself and your client in a position to where they can get a nice, easy downwind shot on them. Because if you're not throwing, the wind's always blowing. I mean, It's blowing 10 to 20 pretty much every day on the flats. That's just a standard. And if you're not putting people quartering downwind, typically throwing over their strong side, they're not getting shots at a lot of those fish. So it adds a big challenge to the guiding, being able to know your capabilities as an angler and your angler's capabilities as a guide is a key to success for sure.
Super cool, absolutely. You mentioned the guiding school. What other topics, or tell us about some topics that you teach at the guiding school and that you could share with us today?
I'm kind of a learn and live kind of guy. I don't never did any kind of real guiding school. Just kind of do it. Fish, guide, learn as you go. There's a lot. There's more than any school can teach. Any weak school can teach you. The biggest thing about being a guide is just being able to deal with the personalities and know what people can take and what they can't, and what they're, some people, everybody's different, and being able to read your clients and know what they need to succeed is kind of the biggest thing that you can do as a guide. And that, and then being able to recognize that a good day and a good guide doesn't always mean catching the most fish, or I mean, that's not the end of the day. The end of the day, you're a good guide and you had a good day if your people come back happy, no matter what that is. Being able to register that and make that happen is the biggest thing that you can do, as opposed to really getting stuck on the, hey, we need to catch a big fish, or hey, we need to knock all these numbers out, or it's a bad day. Just being able to read your clients and make sure they're having a good time and they're achieving what they want to do for that day and how they see it, and not making it about them and not making it about you.
Absolutely. So well said. So, James, with that said, actually, I hate to put you on the spot here, but can you share a recent story that reflected that what you just mentioned about making someone's day and putting them on either you put them on fish or you didn't put them on fish, but they just had a good day that you could share with us?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, like, for instance, yesterday, I was out guiding yesterday, and it was a really good, it was a couple. They're good friends of mine. I mean, I was actually at their wedding and whatnot. They got married at our place down in Belize a few years ago.
Nice.
Really good people. We were out, we were spay fishing on the naknek for trout. But, they're very laid back people. They don't really care. We were swinging all morning. We had a great day. Caught a bunch of, really nice fish. And sat down, ate some lunch, hung out and chatted for 2 hours. And I think the whole rest of the day, the last 4 hours of the day, we probably only fished a half an hour. And they thought that was great because they had met their expectations. They caught fish. They had a good time. As opposed to me as a guide letting my ego get in the way and say, hey, we need to be out here fishing, we need to be working, we got to go out and get a big fish, or make sure we catch more than everybody else. I mean, we just sat back and told stories and laughed and had fun. We went back a little early, had a couple cocktails at the lodge, and that was a great day for those guys. I mean, sure, we could have gone out and pounded away for another 4 or 5 hours and and caught a couple more really big fish, or caught another 20 fish. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that wasn't their priority. Their priority was to just hang out. They wanted to just chit chat and sit around and laugh and tell stories because they've had a long week of fishing and we've got plenty of fish and they had a good time. And being able to see that and go along with it and know that that's what makes a good day for people is important.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that. What are some challenges that you had with the lodges or the logistics of the lodges or getting things going? Like, obviously, you got they're up, they're running, they're successful, but nothing comes without a challenge. What are some challenges?
Oh man, there's countless challenges. I mean, it's challenge after challenge that you have to hurdle up here for sure. Difficult clients, weather. Of course, it's tough environment up here. Things are always breaking. Vehicles are always breaking. Boats are always breaking. You always have, there's just a constant list of things that need to be done. It's, long days and, you're also up here, the staff, of course, all lives right there with you. So you have to deal with, how many people do we have? A dozen different personalities at the lodge all trying to mash and live together as one family. That's always some form of
is there
drama?
Yeah, drama involved, no doubt.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like living in a reality TV show.
I bet it is. Well, actually, there's a great show right there, reality fishing lodge. I like it. So, absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's definitely there. It'd be the new deadliest catch.
Yeah, there you are. I love it. That's a good one. So, with all that, like, does everyone, like, when you have so many guides, you have 12 guides or 12? Is that 12 staff or 12 guides?
12 guides. Party staff. We have we're down 2 from the the main like salmon season and whatnot. Right now we have 7 at the lodge, and then we have 2 kitchen staff, and then camp help.
Cool. So with the guides and you, like, do they follow your lead, or do they go out on their own? Like, how's that all work?
So I sit down with the clients every night at dinner, and I write up a schedule for the next day. So we have a lot of different options of things that we can do. We do float plane flyouts all across Bristol Bay. We do boat trips across Naknek Lake to Naknek Lake tributaries. We have several creeks that flow into the river. We have the main river, and so I will assign people based upon what they want to do with different guides and the locations every day. So people are fishing all over. Some of the guides pretty much just fish the main river via jet boat every day. Some of them fly out most days, and then some of them do both. So
what do you find most guys are hitting? Are they going after the salmon like this? Right, like let's say right now, are they going after silvers or are they going after the big trout?
So right now we're in full trout season. Everybody that we have, we've got another counting this week that starts fishing tomorrow. We have 4 more weeks of clients.
Yeah.
And it will all be spay fishing for trout.
Nice. What just give us a little teaser, like tell us about the Alaskan trout, because they're kind of different. They're very like, and I know this as well, but they're very ferocious and whatnot. Just give us a little history on that as well.
Yeah, I mean they're the biggest, baddest native rainbows in the world without a doubt. The Naknek River that we're on is pretty much unarguably the best trophy rainbow river in the state of Alaska. I mean, we get more really big fish than anywhere else. And I don't even feel like lodges on other rivers could even try and argue that one. And they are a different animal. I mean, everybody that we have that comes up from the lower 48 and even other parts of Alaska to some extent, but anywhere else in the world for sure, you tie into one of these fish and you know it's something different. I mean, you hook a 20-incher for the first time and it starts screaming off drag and you think you got a monster on.
Yeah.
And they're mean. They're very well fed, very thick, all muscle, and they're meat eaters too, man. They eat streamers like no other.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to highlight.
Eggs are dropping. Go ahead. Sorry.
I said that's what I wanted to highlight. I know they're meat eaters. They eat mice. They eat straight up streamers, flash flies. Like it's just so different. And I mean, being in BC where I am, and as a stillwater guy, I mean, our trout are chronomid and bugs and hatches and stuff like that. And having caught some fish up there, like they're such a different breed and such a different rainbow, man. It's one hell of a fight. I'll leave it at that. So, absolutely.
Yeah, they're definitely a different breed. I mean, you said it right. They're mean, they're aggressive, they hit hard, they fight hard, grow fast, grow big. They're impressive fish.
What would you compare it to any saltwater fish? Or is it just its own altogether?
And they're kind of their own deal. I mean, they're like they're kind of their own deal.
Cool. Like it. What do you prefer? Permit or hitting those big rainbows?
Oh man, like I said, I'm a saltwater guy. I love them both, but I just love the visual aspect and the precision that it takes to catch those permit. Mostly, what I really like is that most people can't catch them very well. You know, it's a challenge. It's hard.
Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think it's so hard? Like, why do you think walk us through that.
Oh, there's a lot that makes it hard. But one, the boat's always, the wind is always blowing, the boat's always moving, the fish are always swimming. They're hard to see, they're hard to find, and you have to put it right on them. So if you're in a moving boat with a moving fish and wind, and you have to put a fly in front of a fish, all those things equal difficult. And then to make that all worse, if you actually do manage to find them, put a fly in front of them, they are real good at not eating it.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
They have great eyesight, they have a great sense of smell, and flies don't often move and look like food very well, as much as we try.
Huh.
They know the difference.
They're just that smart, huh?
So it takes good casts and persistence, and of course you can always get lucky, and the biggest thing is finding a fish that wants to bite. But even when you find a fish that wants to bite, you gotta put the cast on them. It's very different than anything you get in freshwater, where it's mostly like, let's say you're swinging flies. Of course it takes a level of skill, but you get the fly out there 30, 40 feet, and you start letting it swing around and moving, you're fishing real well.
Mm-hmm.
You're covering water, you're getting down there, you're in the zone. Where permit, it's all precision, it's wait. You don't see anything, you've been standing there for an hour and a half, and then all of a sudden there's fish 70 feet, put the shot now or it's gone. And it's just a little different animal. It kind of gets my blood pumping.
Yeah, I can tell just by you talking about it. I can tell because your voice is raising on the my computer here, so it's kind of funny, like your track. So I can tell the blood's pumping. So absolutely. So you know what, James, I want to ask you about the travel. Like you guys do hosted trips, is that right?
Yeah, I do
So
some hosted stuff. I do a fair bit of travel. I'm
so
gonna get more with the Belize transitioning out of Belize. I'm gonna start doing a little bit more travel as well.
where do you plan to go? Just bucket list stuff, or do you know where you plan to take people for the travel?
Yeah, I mean, I plan on doing a lot of different stuff, but the only one that I currently have on the books right now, as far as doing a hosted deal, is I'm doing Brazil last week in November, first week of December next year,
Yeah, nice.
and I might try and put something quick together for like Ascension Bay this spring. I had a couple other things that I was thinking about trying to do this fall winter, but my schedule just got a little busy to really make that happen. So I'm gonna shoot for next year. But I like to see different places. I like to go different places. So I mean, a lot of it. I like to do lots of things. I'm young, I got time, but Golden Dorado's up there on the list. I'm to maybe go down and try that 2021, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to do like Siberia for Taman, and catch one of those Indo-Pacific permit at some point, and maybe Australia or Seychelles, and
What made you want to transition from like the lodges and whatnot into the more of the hosted travel market? Like, let me ask you this: do you find that there's room to grow in the hosted travel market, or do you find that it's slowly getting saturated? I mean, I interview a lot of people, and it seems like more and more of my guests are on the podcast are getting into whether it's a fly shop or whether it's a guide or whether it's a brand. It doesn't matter. More and more people are getting into that hosted travel. So what's made you want to get into that as well?
well, I wouldn't say that I'm phasing out of the lodge thing. I plan on continuing the lodge
Okay,
program for a
good,
while.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep operating lodges. I'm looking at other potential destinations for lodges and whatnot. Always, pretty much. But those travels just that I'm not planning on getting seriously into it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of places that I'd like to go see, and I have a lot of we obviously have a lot of clients, and I have a lot of friends that I like to fish with, and guests that I enjoy fishing with, and they all have places that they want to go, and and it's fun to go and share those experiences with friends as opposed to you're going to go there. If you're going to go there, you're going to be sharing it with people that you don't know or sharing it with friends of yours, and
Mm-hmm.
just more fun to go with people that you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be it's always more fun like that for sure. It's a great answer. It sounds like you're kind of doing it more for like social, you know what I mean, social fishing and just kind of crossing stuff off your bucket list, which is kind of amazing as well. So, when you talk about the
Yeah,
lodge,
I just
yeah, go ahead.
no, yeah, I'm not planning on seriously getting into that at least anytime soon. Like you said, it's just hang out with guests that are friends of mine and buddies, and see some different areas, and share those experiences with people, and help them make sure that they have the right gear and what they need to be able to to have a good time. That's what it's about for me.
No, for sure, absolutely. You said something there that was kind of cool and it caught my attention. Basically, James, you said that you're always looking for lodges. Like, how many more lodges would you like to add to your portfolio of lodges? I mean, currently you have three.
It's hard to say.
Where would you
uh,
where's your like ideal locations? Is it mostly Alaskan based, or are you looking down like saltwater? Or
Honestly, man, I have looked at everything. I've spent a lot of time on Google Earth, and a lot of time I've read about every destination across the planet, pretty much, salt and fresh.
it's funny.
And I've got a few that I'm thinking about doing potentially, but nothing, nothing firm at
Yeah,
all yet.
of course, yeah, absolutely. No, it's kind of funny. I mean, most people dream of owning one lodge, and here you are. You're looking to add a fourth. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, like, what do you look for in a lodge? Like, do you look for the fishery? Do you look at the bones of the facility? Do you just look for the vacant land? Like, walk us through like how one. Let's pick the most basic person. That's like, hey, I want to buy a lodge. What would you like? What do you look for when you want to buy a lodge?
Well, I mean, so there's obviously lots of options. It just depends on upon what you're looking for. What I've looked at is places, obviously with world class fisheries where world class fisheries that you enjoy yourself, and then being able to make ease of access. I'm big on being able to do, not that I'll always necessarily stick to this. I mean, it's all weighing the positive with the negative, but I like it to be relatively easy for people to get to and not have to fly to the other side of the world and travel for 48 hours to do.
Yeah.
But because I think that rules a whole lot of people out real quick. That, and then as far as what you look for a facility, I mean, obviously existing lodges are an easy thing to do. We've never done vacant land, but either bought something and then did some work to make it what we want, or like the most recent one that we bought, the one that I operate, Capt Trophy Lodge, we just bought an existing lodge that had been operating for 5 or 6 years and
then fixed it up.
Yeah, just did a little bit, moved our clients into it, and
perfect.
Started promoting. We have a pretty large clientele base to feed off of for that kind of stuff.
So let's talk about the gear and stuff. Like, obviously your lodge. Like, do you provide fly fishing gear as well for your guests? Or I mean, most people probably use their own, I'm assuming. But you do have that option. Is that right?
Yeah, so most people bring gear, but we have all the gear that you need. Like, we have all the lodge rods, spinning rods, fly rods, bait rods, flies, all that good stuff. Heck, we even have waders and whatnot if people need them. But yeah, for the most part, people bring what they have for fly gear, and then we kind of fill in where they don't have.
Cool, good option as well. James, I know I follow you on social media. You're on social media. Your lodges are on there as well. How important is social media to you as a guide and as a business owner?
I mean, it's pretty important. We get a lot of. I mean, it's a lot of work. I don't really like it, but
let me reframe this. I talked to a lot of lodges, and we just came back from Alaska on a trip for a lodge asked us to go up there as well. And like the social media for these lodges and is new. It's new territory for lodge owners, right? But you've been on there for quite some time and you're very active. You have a big following as well. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. I personally don't like to do social media either, but it's just so that's where I'm kind of going with it. Is you are active on it and it is for your business, right? So how do you feel that how important that is for your business?
Yeah, I think it's very important, both with staying relevant to your current guests' mind. Just staying in their thoughts day after day, and get them thinking about how they need to come back and fish with you again. And then as far as discovery from new clientele, I think that it's very big. I mean, we do a lot of business through social media. I mean, it's a pain, but it's relatively easy, and people feel very involved with it. Being able to see what you're doing, what's going on. I mean, we have all kinds of clients that sit there and watch it all year in excitement for their trip, and I think it's a big thing.
Well, I know when I look at your fish picks, and particularly right now when I'm looking at your daily fish picks here, makes me want to go up there as well. So, James, before I let you go, I always ask one question, and I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask everyone else. And that is, if you could change one thing within the fly fishing industry and guiding industry, what would that one thing be?
If I could change one thing in the industry, what would it be? It would be, I wish people would be a little less obsessed with, what everybody else is doing and how what they're doing is better than everybody else. And just just go out there and remember that this is all supposed to be fun, after all. And have a good time, and
yeah.
Just be nice to each other, and let people do what they're trying to do without having to put everybody else down all the time.
Super cool. Well said. James, you know what? I know you got a few lodges here. Where can we find you and your lodges at?
So you can find me on Instagram at James Johnson. It's my first name is spelled with a Z instead of a S, just because James Johnson is a fairly commonly used name. And then Cat My Trophy Lodge, Instagram, and Facebook, and Captain James Johnson on Facebook.
Perfect. So. And you guys are taking bookings for 2020, of course?
Yeah, of course.
I'll make sure that I put all that in the show notes as well. So definitely, James, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show, and I just also want to thank the audience as well. So definitely thank you guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Good talking.
Awesome. Thanks, James.